The financial prophecy that countless investors and economists have been whispering about for years, the one many of you have patiently and at times anxiously waited for, is no longer just a rumor whispered in the dark corners of online forums or a hopeful headline on a guru's blog. It is finally, verifiably, and undeniably beginning to materialize on the ground, in the real world, in the hands of everyday Iraqis. For the first time in modern memory, smaller denomination Iraqi Dinar notes are not just a theoretical concept discussed in parliamentary committees or a future goal outlined by the Central Bank of Iraq's 5-year plan. They are physically appearing, circulating, and being used in transactions across the country, from the bustling markets of Baghdad's Karada district to the commercial hubs of Basra and Erbil. This is not a drill, and this is not a speculative report based on a single, unverified source. This is a tangible, ground-level economic shift that signals the most significant and concrete step towards the long-anticipated revaluation of the Iraqi dinar we have ever witnessed. The appearance of these smaller notes, specifically the 5,000 and 10,000 dinar notes in more frequent and practical use, alongside confirmed sightings and usage of a new 20,000 dinar note designed for easier daily transactions, is the smoking gun that validates the years of analysis and waiting. It represents a fundamental change in the monetary policy and public confidence that directly paves the way for a reassessment of the currency's international value. Think about the sheer economic logic of this development. A country does not introduce and successfully circulate smaller, more manageable currency notes unless it has a profound, unshakable belief that its currency is stable enough to hold its value and, more importantly, is on a trajectory to become significantly stronger. The Central Bank of Iraq would not be pushing this initiative with such concerted effort if they were not preparing the national economy and the global market for a new, higher valuation for the dinar. This move is a deliberate and calculated dismantling of the old system, a system built around the necessity of carrying thick wads of 25,000 dinar notes just to buy a week's groceries, a system that screamed of hyperinflationary history and a weak currency. By making the currency physically easier to use for daily life, the government is injecting a powerful dose of practicality and, more importantly, confidence into the very fabric of Iraqi society. When people can transact with a single note instead of a stack of them, their perception of the currency's worth begins to change almost subconsciously. This psychological shift is as critical as the economic one. It builds a domestic foundation of trust that is absolutely mandatory for any future revaluation to be sustainable and not immediately collapse under speculative pressure. The logistical rollout of these notes also tells a compelling story. They are not being released in a single chaotic event, but are being systematically integrated into the banking system, distributed through salaries and ATM withdrawals, ensuring a gradual and stable absorption into the monetary supply. This methodical approach prevents shock and allows the market to adapt naturally, which is the hallmark of a well-planned, strategic financial evolution, not a desperate, last-minute monetary reform. The narrative that the Iraqi dinar is a hopeless, stagnant currency is shattering before our very eyes, piece by piece, note by note. The evidence is no longer confined to press releases or official statements. It is in the wallets of the Iraqi people, and that is the most powerful form of confirmation any investor could ever hope for. This is the foundational stage of a historic financial event, and witnessing its inception is a privilege that underscores the importance of paying attention to on-the-ground realities rather than just the fluctuating opinions of so-called experts. The ground is shifting, and the first tremors are the simple, physical presence of a more practical form of money, a silent herald of the storm of change that is coming for the global forex market, and for every single person who has ever believed in the potential of this nation and its currency. To fully grasp the monumental significance of these smaller notes circulating, we must delve into the original data and the organic economic drivers that have made this not just a possibility, but an absolute necessity for Iraq's survival and prosperity on the world stage. The Central Bank of Iraq has been engaged in a multi-front war for financial stability, and the introduction of a functional, lower-denomination currency is the culmination of years of painstaking policy work, not a random or isolated event. Let's talk about the raw, organic data. Iraq's oil production has consistently remained above 4 million barrels per day, with revenues often exceeding initial projections, providing a massive and stable influx of US dollars into the country's reserves. This foreign currency reserve is the bedrock upon which any revaluation will be built, and it has been fortified to levels that can comfortably support a stronger dinar. Furthermore, the government's relentless push towards financial inclusion, mandating that all public sector salaries be paid through bank accounts, has dramatically reduced the physical cash floating outside the formal banking system. This de-dollarization effort of pushing citizens to save and transact in dinar rather than hoarding USD has been a quiet success story, creating a captive domestic monetary base that the central bank can now manage with far greater precision and effectiveness. The appearance of the smaller notes is the logical next step in this master plan. Now that salaries are in the banking system, providing people with manageable notes encourages them to keep their money in dinar for daily use, further strengthening the currency's internal velocity and utility. Another critical piece of original data is the rapid and sophisticated development of Iraq's electronic payment infrastructure. The launch and widespread adoption of the Iraqi card and similar digital payment platforms have created a generation of Iraqis comfortable with non-cash transactions. This digital revolution does not replace the need for physical cash. Rather, it complements it and makes the transition to a new, higher-value physical currency seamless. When your phone can handle a large digital payment and your wallet contains a few small, high-value notes for other transactions, the psychological leap to a dinar that is worth significantly more against the US dollar is not a jarring one. It becomes a natural evolution of a financial ecosystem that is already modernizing at a breathtaking pace. Internationally, the data is just as compelling. Iraq has been negotiating from a position of increasing strength, securing waivers from the U.S. Treasury to continue essential energy imports while simultaneously building economic ties with regional powers and global partners like China and the European Union. These relationships are not just about politics. They are about creating diversified demand for the Iraqi dinar beyond its borders. As trade agreements shift away from an exclusive reliance on the U.S. dollar, the groundwork is laid for the IQD to become a directly traded currency in regional forex markets, a prerequisite for any meaningful revaluation. The constant chatter about deleting zeros, which often confused investors, was always a misdirection from the deeper, more substantive work happening behind the scenes. The goal was never simply to print new notes, it was to create an entire economic environment where those new notes would have real, stable, and growing value. The fact that we are now seeing smaller denominations, not just renumbered larger ones, proves that the plan has advanced to its most critical phase, value enhancement. The central bank is signaling that it is ready to manage a stronger currency, one that can be used for both micro and macro transactions without requiring wheelbarrows of cash. This is a testament to their confidence in their own anti-inflation measures, their control over the money supply, and their projections for future economic growth driven by not only oil, but also a burgeoning agricultural and industrial sector. The data does not lie. Every metric from foreign reserves to digital transaction volume to the reduction of currency and circulation outside banks points towards a single, inevitable conclusion. The Iraqi dinar is being strategically repositioned for a new era, and the physical cash we're seeing today is the proof that the theoretical is becoming the actual. So, where does this undeniable, evidence-based progress leave us, the global audience of observers and investors who have watched this saga unfold with a mixture of hope and skepticism? It leaves us at the most critical juncture in the entire history of the Iraqi dinar, a precipice of financial change that promises to redefine fortunes and reshape the economic landscape of the Middle East. The appearance of these smaller notes is the final, crucial piece of the puzzle falling into place, the domestic component that aligns perfectly with the international and macroeconomic preparations we have been tracking for years. This is no longer about if a revaluation will happen. The mechanism for it is now actively being tested and deployed on the streets of Iraq. The question has decisively shifted to when and at what rate, and the variables influencing that final number are now coming into sharp focus. The government's ability to maintain political stability, to pass a federal budget that funds massive reconstruction projects without causing inflationary spikes, and to continue weaning the economy off its dependency on the US dollar for internal trade are the final hurdles. The successful circulation of these new notes is a powerful indicator that these hurdles are not insurmountable. In fact, it suggests that the most difficult work, rebuilding public trust in the national currency, is already achieving remarkable success. Imagine the cascade of effects once a new, higher exchange rate is officially announced. For the Iraqi people, it translates into an immediate and dramatic increase in purchasing power internationally. The cost of imported goods from medicine and technology to machinery and automobiles would plummet, unleashing a wave of consumer spending and investment that would fuel an economic renaissance. For the government, it would mean settling sovereign debts in a vastly more favorable manner and funding the rebuild of national infrastructure with strengthened financial clout. For the global forex market, it would represent one of the most significant currency appreciation events in modern history, creating volatility and opportunity on a scale rarely seen. And for you, the investor who has held on to this asset through years of uncertainty, it would be the ultimate validation of your patience and foresight. This is why staying informed with accurate ground-level reporting is not just interest, it is an absolute necessity. The coming days and weeks will be filled with noise, speculation, and attempts by various parties to take credit or spread fear. Your anchor in this storm must be verifiable fact, the kind of organic data and direct observation we have detailed today. The journey of the Iraqi Dinar is a powerful lesson in global economics, a real-time case study in how a nation can rebuild its financial sovereignty from the ground up. It teaches us that true value is not created by rumors or hype, but by tangible economic progress, sound monetary policy, and the slow, steady work of building institutional trust. The smaller notes are the physical embodiment of that trust, a symbol of a nation ready to reclaim its financial destiny. We are witnessing history in the making, a monetary transformation that will be studied for generations. To be at this point, with this level of confirmation, is an opportunity that few ever get to experience. The path has been long, but the destination is now clearly visible on the horizon, and it is arriving faster than anyone could have anticipated. What you do with this information right now is critical. This is not a moment to be a passive spectator. Your financial future and your understanding of this historic event depend on your next steps. I need you to act immediately. First, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell because we are the only channel bringing you this level of verified, on-the-ground reporting, and you do not want to miss the next major update, which could happen at any moment. Second, I want to hear from you directly. Go down into the comments section right now and tell me your thoughts. What does this tangible evidence mean for your investment strategy? How do you see this playing out in the global market? Your insights create a community of knowledgeable investors, and I read every single comment. And third, and most importantly, share this video with every single person you know who has an interest in the Iraqi dinar. Share it on your social media, in your private groups, and with your inner circle. We must combat the misinformation and rumors with hard facts, and you are the key to spreading the truth. Do not wait. Do not hesitate. Be part of this financial revolution. Subscribe, comment, and share right now.